Hey all, and welcome back to Fuzzy Dirty Gaming and a new video on the channel where we're going to farm a Headhunter with a no investment mapping strategy and a simple 15 Divine Tornado Shot build. There's a few reasons for wanting to do this video. Firstly, I want to showcase how easy it is to farm lots of currency in the current economy with an easy laid back Atlas strategy that requires no purchasing of items and no use of Sextants or Scarabs. I had a dead eye to respec, so that's why I've gone Tornado Shot, and it's nice and simple to gear, and it's a build I'm fairly familiar with and does pretty well on the budget that we're looking at. I've just purchased all the gear for this character and spent around 15 divines including the gems. So this video I'm going to go through the Atlas strategy, the reason behind running the particular strategy, and just show highlights of the farm and talk through the overall process. Then at the end of the video I'll go through how long the challenge took and what I would change if I did it again. We'll go through the Atlas tree in a moment, but the reason I've picked it is it's very easy to farm lots of items that at the moment are in high demand. So this is just a snapshot of my stash tab that I've taken while testing this strategy. I've essentially done 4 full rotations of Seer and Exarch invitations, and we're left with about 33 divines worth of loot. Now, this is probably slightly misrepresented because the Delirium Orbs are probably at least 1.5 times the value that they show on here, but then I have had some things like this memory and a Divine Orb drop. The invitations you will get to drop because of the Atlas strategy and the Atlas nodes that we're taking. So overall, I think this is probably about right, maybe slightly underrepresented. I think maybe this is more like 35 to 36 divines in 4 full rotations. Now, this may seem not amazing, but these maps are going to be super quick. We're going to be going between 2 different maps. One of them you're going to do in under 45 seconds. The other one's probably going to be around 2 minutes per map. And you're going to jump between the 2 maps, keeping up your map supply. So this is just me testing to see if this is a worthwhile project to do, and that's what we're going to do. So we'll jump into the Atlas tree and I'll show you very quickly what we're doing, and it is very, very straightforward. The tree is essentially a very similar tree to what you would do at the beginning of the league where you're looking to farm altars, but we're adding in some Delirium nodes as well, just because Delirium Orbs are super profitable. They sell in bulk for like probably 6.5 to 7 Delirium Orbs per divine, no matter what the orb is, and they bulk sell really, really quickly. Really, all you need to do for this strategy is you do Wandering Path, you take all of the duplication nodes that you can take, and you make sure you have a 100% chance for a monster to drop a connected map, which is here. And then you can see we've got 35% map duplication chance, and then we're taking chance to get Delirium and chance to get Deli Orbs, and it works really, really well. These small nodes here, for example, that give you more progress towards your Delirium bar mean that in Mesa, which is one of our maps, all we have to do is go to the boss arena, circle around it, go in, kill the boss, and we get to 4 Deli rewards, and that gives you a chance to get Delirium Orbs, and they're dropping fairly commonly. We're also taking Wrath of the Cosmos and the Searing Exarch nodes here, because the other map we're going to be running is Jungle Valley, and that's where we're going to try and get our currency from farming the Exarch altars along with a Mirror of Delirium. In terms of your favorite slots, you're going to be going between Jungle Valley and Mesa, and you have a 100% chance to drop one of these maps if you cleared all the monsters, which you're not going to do. So what you want to do when you're running your Jungle Valleys, you set every single favorite bar onto Mesa and the other to Jungle Valley, and then vice versa. When you're running your Mesa, you set it up like this. All Jungle Valleys, 1 Mesa. You don't need all of your favorite slots, but the more you've got, the more likely you are to drop the maps that you need. But because we're 100% guaranteed a connected map from a monster, as long as we give a few favorite slots to them, it means that it's highly weighted that you're going to drop that map. You do not need many maps to sustain this strategy. I would think if you started with 10 Jungle Valley maps, that would be enough to sustain the strategy. What you're probably going to find is when you're running your Mesa maps, you will drop some Jungle Valleys, but maybe not enough to 100% make up for the Mesas. But when you run Jungle Valley, because we're mostly clearing that map, you're going to over-sustain your Mesas because of duplicating maps from the Atlas tree. And that's really all there is to it. So I won't go and do an example because I've got my device set up at 0 maps. So I'll just show some footage in the background. Essentially with Mesa, if there's no Delirium Mirror, you just beeline straight for the boss and kill him and get out. If there is a Delirium Mirror, you want to hang around the mirror just for a couple of seconds because it actually takes a little while for it to register that you're killing monsters. If you run off straight away, half the monsters you kill won't register towards your progress and you won't make 4 rewards. So this slows it down a tiny bit, but I think it's worth it because of how much Delirium Orbs are worth. So on Mesa, you just take the mirror, wait for the monsters to spawn. You're probably going to have to circle around the boss arena to get to near 4 rewards. Then you go in, kill him, kill the monsters in there. That should take you to 4 rewards. You stop the deli, you pick up your loot, you portal out, you go in again. With Jungle Valley, it is essentially an altar farm. So again, you're running through the mirror, you're going through the map as quickly as you can, clicking any minion altars to get some loot. And again, you just go through, loot the map. When you get to the end, you end the delirium, you pick your loot up, you exit, you go again. The really important thing for getting decent profit per hour in this sort of strategy is to be quick. So the way I tend to set it up is I'll have a dump tab to put all of my loot in. Then I'll have a separate tab. Ignore this stuff here, I just haven't cleaned it up properly, where I dump maps that I want to run for the next rotation. So if I'm running Mesa, I'm going to dump all my Jungle Valleys in here, and vice versa. If I'm running Jungle Valley, I'm putting all my Mesas in here. To make it simple, I'm just running the map scoured. We don't need to make them rare. There's not really any benefit at all to making the maps more difficult. So again, you're probably going to want a small supply of scouring orbs. You're more than welcome to run them magic or rare. Doesn't really make a difference. And if your build can do it, go for it. I just think it's much easier just to scour every single map, then you don't have to worry about whether you can run a particular mod or whether the map might be a little bit too difficult. So you are just running plain scoured maps. You'll run all of your Jungle Valleys, dump your Mesas, swap your favorites around, run your Mesas, dump your Jungle Valleys, and you just rinse and repeat. I started with maybe about 15 maps, done a few rotations, and these are the maps that I'm left with, so I'm over-sustaining quite comfortably. I think I've also got some that I've accidentally dumped into my map tab. So as long as you have a supply to start with, so it might be that you need to buy a Divine's worth of maps. So you could go and buy whatever's cheaper out of Jungle Valley and Mesa, buy a bulk load of them, and that's all you're going to need. Make sure you've got some scouring orbs if you wanted to run them with no mods on them, and that's kind of it. That is purely the strategy. It's worked well so far, but I did run it on a more powerful build, so I need to see how quickly it's going to be on this sort of character, and that's the reason for this test. So once we've got all this intro out of the way, we'll start the timer and we'll jump on and we'll start the test. Right, so let's get this thing moving. We've got our maps ready to go. Atlas tree set up. Favorites not set up, because these need to be Mesa, since we're on in Jungle Valley. Almost a very bad start. Okay, so let's kick this off, if I remember how. There we go, good start, and then we'll get going. Like I say, I'm not sure how quick this is going to be because my test runs I did with Headhunter. When you get a map like this where you don't get a deli mirror, if you drop your Mesa map and you don't get any good altars, you can just skip out early. There's no real reason to finish the map if you haven't got good altars, because you're not going to get anything decent. So we've got a Mesa, which is the connected map to drop. So we'll go through and clear half. If we don't get a decent altar, then we'll just skip out. There's not really any point in staying in the map. But at this stage, if we get something like Awakened Sextants, it's worth staying in for. Worth staying in because it's got a Fortunate. Good start. I think that's everything, though. I don't think I want to stay in much longer, so we'll get out of that straight away, and then we'll go into the next one. Because even though it may seem like a waste, the quicker you do them, the quicker you get your invitation. At the moment, they're about 3 divines each, which is pretty nuts. So this time we've got a deli mirror. You don't really have to wait on your Jungle Valley maps because you're going to be clearing the map, so you're going to have enough monsters to kill. We got some chisels and baubles, and I've got both of those showing. Chisels are nearly a chaos each, and I think the baubles are almost 3C each because no one picks them up, and they're not actually that common as a normal drop. You know, tend to only get them from the altars or traded in your blacksmith whetstones. You don't have to hang around the deli puddles. You'll easily get to 5 rewards. In some cases, you'll get to 6. And it's not really the rewards we care about. It's the deli orbs overall, especially with things like fossils and jewelry. We're unlikely to get anything worth too much money. And if you do get fossils, it might be hard to sell them because we're very unlikely to get like big bulk of them. So there's our Mesa map. Not duplicated, unfortunately, but that's 2 maps from 2 maps. Always good. Maybe you don't want to hit that thing there. So you could optimize this a ton because this build is kind of a build I've thrown together. It could be much quicker. It could have more damage. Obviously, if you had a bit more currency, you can put more money into it than what I put into it. But it's really just to show that what you can do on like a bog standard build. So we got to 5. So we'll stop the deli fog and hope to get some orbs. We did. So a good map overall. Jump out of there. And then we just keep going and rinse and repeat. So no deli mirror on this one. So this time we'll be looking for our map drop and then hopefully some juicy altars. You can collect the smuggler's cash if you want. I'm not going to because I can't be bothered to sell everything. But if you wanted to eke every penny out of it, you could do. So if you get things like deception contracts, they're going to sell really well. So we've got our map. And we got some greater embers. So we're staying in this map because they're about 40 for a divine. So we will stay in this map and collect any embers that drop. Or stay in the map and get no embers to drop is always good. A bit unlucky in this one. Yeah, so we've got monsters left, but I really don't think it's worth staying in the map. We were unlucky with our ultra on that. We just didn't get any currency drop from it. So again, we go out and we go in again because we want to make sure we're turning the maps over nice and quick. Deli mirror, nice. So I don't know the exact chance to get a deli mirror with all the nodes that we've taken, but it's probably about 70%. And embers is nice if we can get a few to drop at least. Anyway, not much good if you don't get any to drop. How many deli hands are grabbing me in this map? It's insane. So this time we are going to go down here and make sure we clear the map because the orbs are worth quite a lot. They're like 10 for divine, I think. So it's definitely something worth clearing the majority of the map for. There's another one. You may take the odd death from basically explosions you're going to get from deli. Like, there's so many on-death effects and corpse explosions that it can sometimes be hard to see them all. Like those. At least they were telegraphed. Okay, so that's about it for this map. So we will stop the deli. 2 delirium orbs, very nice, and some chisels, so we'll grab those. Alright, then we'll just stop the timer quickly, just to go and have a look at how we're doing for loot. So you've obviously got to consider each map passively as 25 to 30C because of the invitation that we're getting. So we'll just go and stop my map watch timer just in case I want to use that. And then we'll go and have a look here at this tab. So if we refresh. So yeah, with the stuff we picked up already, it's 1.5 divines from a few maps. And as I say, passively, we're getting about 30C per map as well. So if we go in here and have a look, we are 5 maps into our Exarch invitations. And that's essentially another 150 chaos, which is probably 3/4 of divine. Yeah, so just so far already, even on what looks like quite ominous loot, like not much loot that we've picked up, already well over 2 divines. So I'll go and rush through all these jungle valleys, then we'll do another snapshot timer, and then I'll go and do some Mesa maps as an example. So far I've run 27 jungle valley maps. Time is at just under 45 minutes, and luckily enough that was the exact amount of maps I had. I think I had 24, and then we had 3 jungle valleys drop while we were running them, and then we've dropped, including this one which we have in our stash, 35 mesas by the looks of it, 34. So we're over sustaining, which is what I wanted to see. So all we'll do now is just running this mesa quickly. Then we'll go and have a look at the currency income for the time that we've done. And then we'll carry on. We'll record a few live examples of mesa and how to run that. And then we'll jump forward to some more highlights. And then we'll probably jump forward to towards the end of the project because I don't want this video to go on too long. So all we need to do here is swap our favorites around. So we want Jungle Valley to be the map we favorite most of the time because this is the one we want to get back because it's more likely to drop because of the connected maps. So we'll start the timer again and we'll go in and we'll do our mesa to get our invitation. And hopefully we get a deli mirror and I can show kind of how you run these maps. If not, we'll go and do another one anyway. We did get a mirror. So with these, You're realistically probably going to have to hang back until it starts. Otherwise, you might not get your 4 layers of rewards when you go into the boss room, which is kind of what you want. Or just under. You don't need to be at 4 because there'll be a few mobs in the boss room. And the boss gives you quite a bit of progress as well. It's up to you in this because we've dropped greater embers. You could stay in this map if you wanted to. But just for the sake of a showcase, we won't. So we'll go in. We didn't actually get our 4, so we're going to have to quickly nip out again, which is fine because if we get some altar minions, we're going to get some greater embers anyway. Normally, like I said, I would run around this way and do a quick loop just to make sure we pick up enough mobs. I actually thought we'd have enough from the end, but we didn't, so that's kind of enough, so we'll just stop that there. Pick our Deli Orb up and our few Simulacrum Splinters, and then we'll go back in. Dump this loot, and then we'll stop the timer. So what you will find with messes is that you may not sustain your jungle valleys, but you should get enough that they sustain each other. You should over-sustain messes when you run in jungle valleys. When you're on messes, you might not sustain your jungle valleys. So we're just going to go and make sure my stash gets updated, and then we'll go and have a look at the loot we've got from, yeah, about 46 minutes. And we were quite unlucky with Deli mirrors running our jungle valleys. We're probably 3 or 4 Deli mirrors under what we should have got. But overall, it should balance out because we're going to be running hundreds of maps. So we'll just go in and we will refresh. So here we've got 8.8 divines in, 46 minutes. And messes, you will earn more because we're doing the maps quicker. So we turn over the invitations quicker. And you will still be getting Deli Orbs. Even though we're only getting to 5 rewards, you still will get Deli Orbs really, really regularly. Also, with your messes, you're going to get things like invitations drop. You'll get a few boss maps. So overall, because the Mesa maps are going to be much, much quicker, you should have much more profit per hour. So if you wanted to, I don't know the price of the maps, you could just buy hundreds of messes and then just run them boss rush in, forget the wandering path and spec into boss drop nodes, and that would be really good as well. I just wanted a strategy where I don't have to do any purchasing whatsoever other than maybe a bulk lot of maps at the beginning, maybe a divine's worth of maps, and some scours just to make the maps nice and easy. And then I just want to map. I don't want to have to worry about buying stuff, but it's totally up to you. I would think it would probably be more profit per hour if you just bulk bought a ton of messes, but I don't know A, the availability, and B, the price. So yeah, that's right at a minute, just under 9 divines. However, these Deli Orbs are all misrepresented quite a lot, as mentioned earlier in the video. So realistically, this is probably more like 10 divines. What I'm hoping from this strategy is between, I would say 13 to 15 divines an hour with average luck. If we get lucky and maybe get some invitations drop that are worth some money, maybe some memories, then it should go up from that. But 13 to 15 divines is kind of what I expect from this strategy. And if that is how it goes, then it should be under 6 hours that we get our Headhunter. So we'll jump forward and we'll do some highlights from the Mesa maps. What we'll do now is just go and do some example Mesa maps. So the first thing I'm going to do is just get all my normal maps ready to go. And then I'll probably scour the others later down the line as we go along. So I'm just going to move my messes into here just so I know that everything that drops I can stash. Obviously it wastes a bit of time, but I'm not too bothered. And then we'll move these two here. So I don't want to be, oh, I wasted a second or two there. This is meant to be kind of chill. So, you know, however long it takes. If I lose half a divine an hour because I'm a little bit slow stashing, I really don't care. So again, you've got the mirror spawn. You just run through until you get close to 4 rewards. So because I can see the boss from there, we'll just circle round. We've now got 4, so we go in. Take out the boss. Get our double jungle valley map. Stop the Deli fog. Collect whatever drops. Another delirium orb. As you see, delirium orbs drop quite a lot even if you only get to 4. You won't get them every time, but then on some maps you might get 2 to 3 drop. So again, we just keep rinsing and repeating. Going through my little rucksack and running through all the maps. If you don't get a Deli mirror, just beeline for the boss. There's no need to be in the map any longer than you need to be. But I think it's around 65% with everything included, maybe even 70 that you should get a Deli mirror. I ran forwards a bit earlier down. As you can see, now we're only at 2 rewards. So I might have to do a bit of a longer circle around the boss room. Luckily, we had a big pile of mobs there. So we'll just go and prop this ultra and that should sort it out. Some greater embers from the boss, always nice. So again, stop the timer, collect your loot, clear whatever daily rewards drop. No orb this time. You will get tiny amounts of splinters from Mesa because we're not traveling very far and from the mirror, but overall they stack up, and simulacrums are a divine, so it's well worth doing. And then every daily orb is an extra probably 30 to 35 chaos on top. So for every map you drop a daily orb and it takes you less than a minute to complete, along with your roughly 30 chaos that you get into your progress towards your invitation, you're talking 60 to 70 C just from that tiny map. And then you will get ones, like I say, where you get 2 or 3 daily orbs drop, and then that's obviously huge profit per map. My loot filter will be linked in the video description. I'm not sure it's perfect, but it works pretty well. So there's our 4 layers of rewards. Kill the boss. Didn't drop anything. Stop the timer. Any divine incubators I get, I'm just sticking them straight on my character. And then we go out. And then we go in again. So we'll do a couple more of these, and then we'll fast forward probably to the end of the next invitation or two, just to show kind of how the progress is. As you see, these maps are a lot quicker. You turn around a lot quicker than Jungle Valleys, but you do have potential to earn big money from one map in Jungle Valley. If you get the right altars and a Deli Mirror, you can get an absolute fortune from one map. So I think overall, even though Mesa is definitely more profitable, if you want something that just self-sustains, I don't think it's too much of an issue doing this. You're still going to make enough money that it's worthwhile doing. And to say, this is on a thrown together, not looked at or built properly tornado shot character. So on a more optimized character, you can obviously do these a lot quicker because you'll have more damage on the boss and things like that. So again, we stop the mirror, get our delirium orb, and off we go. We've been quite lucky with daily mirrors in Mesa. It's obviously making up for the fact it didn't give me many in Jungle Valley. So we're just waiting until we don't get a daily mirror, and then we'll just showcase that you literally just rush the boss. You don't really need to do anything else. Another daily mirror. So this time we will hang back. Make sure we don't kill mobs too early, because it just means you're not going to have to go looking for mobs. Once you've done your loop of the boss, you're 100% going to have enough to actually just go and straight kill the boss. So we'll go and do our loop. And we've got Twisted Invitation, which I imagine is at least 150C. And 2 Deli Orbs, including a Diviners. So we'll do one more. If it is a mirror again, then we'll just, so be it. We'll just go on and we'll carry on fast forward to the next junction, because I don't want the video to be really, really long, but I want to include enough live kind of highlights that people understand how the strategy works. So here we've got no Deli Mirror. So we're going to kill some mobs to get our onslaught, and then we're just going to look for the boss room. We prop the influence. We may as well do that. 2 chaos orbs, and then we go in, kill the boss. Nothing drops that time. We don't need to stop the mirror, and out we go. So we'll just pause this timer again. So yeah, that's kind of the strategy I'm looking to do. And I think when it balances out, Jungle Valleys and Mesa's done in an equal amount. I think it's easily going to be, like I say, 12 to 14 divines an hour, I hope. So let's fast forward a bit further on, and we'll see how the progress goes. So just finished the 28 Mesa maps. As you can see from the timer, it's 22 minutes to run those maps. So these are much, much quicker. And that's with waiting around to make sure we get the kills from when the Deli Mirror spawns. The other thing you'll notice is the type of loot that drops from this is less loot, but more profitable. And it will be big returns that you get from these. So you can see we had a formed invitation drop, which is about 1.5 divines, probably more in all honesty. The Twisted is 1 divine. Had some El Hezmin maps drop along with a Veritania map. And these are just natural things that will drop because we're killing lots of bosses. You'll get more invitations than you will with any other strategy, because we're getting the small nodes that double your chance to drop an invitation. We're still getting a nice supply of Delirium Orbs. And then obviously we've had our Incandescent Invitation drop at the end of it. So overall, this loot is now sitting at 18 divines worth in about, an hour and 8 minutes. Like I say, the only thing really I've invested into this, if we were to be honest, if I was totally blank with no stash, would be 1 lot of Jungle Valley maps. So probably a divine's worth of Jungle Valley maps, and then some Scouring Orbs. And that's really all I'm going to need for the whole Headhunter farm, because I'm definitely self-sustaining my maps. So if we go quickly in to our maps, we'll take a look. So we had 36, I think it was, Mesa maps, We've already dropped 27 Jungle Valley and we've still got 7 mesas left to run. So it should actually self-sustain the Jungle Valley maps. The reason being on Mesa is that a lot of the enemies in that map are actually in that circle where the boss spawns, especially when you get an altar. So you're an up through the middle, round all the way. You have got a very good chance of dropping Jungle Valley. Because we're killing the boss, he also has a higher chance to drop a boss map. And we've got 36% chance for these map drops to be duplicated. So actually, I was probably a bit pessimistic before. It looks like we should about sustain. If we don't, it's not too much of an issue. If we under sustain our jungle valleys by like 20%, it should balance out because we should over sustain our mesas. So hopefully all the way through this farm, we're going to get hundreds of maps done basically on that first initial lot of maps. So if you've got the maps, this is zero investment. If you don't have any jungle valley maps, it would be maybe buy a divine's worth of either jungle valley or mesas, whatever's cheaper. And then that's going to be enough to keep you going. So what I'll do now is just carry on the rotation. So from here, I'll finish my Mesa maps, then I'll switch to Jungle Valley. The only thing I need to be careful of is that I don't do too many maps without killing a boss for the invitation. So I will go and run my Jungle Valleys once my Mesas are done. And then when I can see I need an invitation drop, I'll just put one Mesa in. If I'm in the middle of a Jungle Valley rotation, I won't respec the favorites just for one Mesa map. I'll just put it in, kill the boss, get the invitation, and then go straight back to farming the Jungle Valleys. So we'll fast forward in time again. There might be some live highlights in between if we get any nice drops. And then we'll go through maybe what it's like at the end of 2 to 3 hours and look at realistically how long it's going to take from here to get that Headhunter. Actually, before we go any further, it's probably worth mentioning why I'm not recommending a strategy where you buy the maps. And there's 2 reasons. One, they're quite expensive. So you can see here, these sold instantly, 72 mesas non-corrupted for 8 chaos each. Secondly, they're not always available. So if, let's say, 100 people who watch this video decide they want to do the strategy, that's 100 people needed to bulk buy realistically 300 to 400 Mesa maps. The supply just isn't going to be there. And if it is, the price of those maps is just going to go up and up as people realize they keep flying off the shelves. So even though I'm 99% sure just running messes is definitely more optimal than doing it as a boss rush, it's whether that supply is available. So the whole purpose of this strategy is you buy one lot of maps, whether that be Mesa or Jungle Valley, or you can horizon into the T15 Mesa, or you have them in your stash already, and then you go from there. You don't need a full set to start. 10 to 15 maps of Jungle Valley should be ample to then self-sustain you all the way through. The reason I recommend bulk buying a Divine's Worth is that it slows you down jumping between the two because you're switching your favorite slots out. It takes a bit of time. It's easy just to be able to do, I would say, at least 20 maps in bulk, then switch your favorites around, go and run the other set, and then vice versa. And eventually you should keep putting your supply up and up and up. By the point, maybe by the end of it, you've actually got your own bulk messes to sell at 8C each, and that just adds to the currency that I want to buy my Headhunter. So just wanted to quickly mention that before we move on. So we're now just coming up to 4 hours. I've just finished a big Jungle Valley farm, which became a bit of a pain because they're definitely not as profitable as Mesa. But I've now got, I believe, 80 Mesa maps. So we've got 60, 72. Yeah, so we've got 80 Mesa maps now. What I would do if I wanted to maximize my profit is probably run about 20 of these until we've got 20 odd Jungle Valley maps. And then what I would do is actually switch my tree up and remove Wandering Path and take these boss nodes here, so that we can get more maps, and then also take the major daily nodes as well, and probably drop these altars because they don't do really very much when we're doing Mesa. But I want to keep it nice and simple, so we're just going to keep doing the strategy as is. In terms of loot at the moment, we're looking at around, based on the snapshot from POE, Ninja price is about 54 divines, but it's going to be more than that because everything's pretty underpriced. The invitations bulk sell for 3.2. A lot of these invitations will be 0.2 or 0.3 higher. Simulacrum sell for a divine. All these things sell better in bulk. So I think realistically, we're probably looking at about 60 divines, and we need around 80 for a Headhunter. So if I was just purely doing this for the profit, I would probably switch my tree up, drop Wandering Path, because we've got so many messes. We can afford to burn through sort of 40 or 50 of them, but we'll keep it as is for now. Now, I think the good thing about this strategy is most of this stuff is going to sell really easily in bulk. The maps will sell fairly easily. You can just list them on trade. People will ask you if you've got others, and then you can sell all of them. The invitations we can sell in bulk. The Delirium Walls will probably go over to TFT and sell them in bulk because it's the easiest way to do it. You can get a decent price of them. And then most of the other stuff will sell in bulk on trade, like the currencies and things like that. They sell really, really easily. And then there's some things like contracts and stuff I'll probably just keep because I do have all my high stuff leveled up. So I may run the contracts and single div cards and stuff like that. So ideally, I'd like to get this up to 80 divines, because what it probably means is then I've realistically probably got 88 to 90 divines. So I then don't have to worry about selling everything. I could just bulk sell the majority of the stuff, and then that's going to give me the money I want to get the Headhunter. So I'll go and plow on with the messes, and I'll be back with you shortly. So I'm just about to run my last map to get the next invitation, which will be the 9th. And in all honesty, I think I probably have enough in the stash to get a Headhunter by selling. But there's a couple of things I want to do. Firstly, this Memory of Sacred Beast is a very lucky drop. Harvest Beast, he's talking like 10 divines for that. I also want to make sure that when I buy the Headhunter, I don't have to sell everything. So I don't want to have to go down and maybe sell individual maps, for example. I don't want to have to sell things like individual div cards and stuff like that. So what I want to do is sell my Scarabs in bulk, sell my Deli Orbs in bulk, sell my invitations and my maps in bulk, and then have 80 divines-ish to buy a Headhunter. So I think just to make sure, we'll do one more round. We've got enough messes to cover half, so we need to do half Jungle Valleys, half messes. That should take me to, I would think, around 5.25 hours, and then hopefully we'll definitely have enough to buy a Headhunter, and we can wrap the video up. So we'll quickly go and do this last invitation. Or map even. Hopefully get something juicy drop. Would be nice. If we could get an invitation for like the Formed or the Elder Slayers, that'd be really nice. But it might be asking a little bit too much considering the lot that I've had. There's another Jungle Valley map. So just going to kill the boss. We didn't. We got the incandescent invitation. Okay, so we're going to go and do one more round, and then I'll be back with you, and we'll sum up, sell up, and buy the Headhunter. So just finished the 10th invitation at 5 hours 20 minutes, and I've now definitely got enough to be able to bulk sell and get Headhunter. So we'll just quickly have a look over the stash. Then I'm going to go to bed because it's super late, sell the stuff tomorrow and wrap up the video. So you can see here the loot breakdown is 91 divines. Got 10 incandescent invitations listed at 29. Realistically, depending when you sell them, they're 32 or 33 in bulk. Obviously got the Memory of Beast, which you will sell, but I wouldn't necessarily include it in the breakdown. And without it, we're still at 81 divines anyway. 4 formed invitations at 1.5 div each. Again, selling 4 of those, you might get more for those. 4 simulacrums that sell for a divine each, so that would be 4 divines. Loads and loads of delirium orbs. Grand embers sell for 10 to 11 for a divine, so you're looking at 4 divines here. Greater embers are 40 to 45 for a divine, so it's probably about right at 2.3. And then we have some Conqueror maps, Guardian maps, all that sort of stuff. All this stuff is going to be very, very easy to liquidate in bulk. But just to give you an idea of how many Deliors we've got in 10 invitations, so we're talking 280 maps, this is how many Delirium Orbs we've got. So I'm going to quickly add them up. So it's 150 Delirium Orbs in total. So we're getting over 1 Delirium Orb every 2 maps, which is really nice considering we're not forcing Deli on the map device. We're just letting it occur naturally. The price for these is 15 divines. You could easily get 20 divines for these selling in bulk, which is what we'll do. And then we'll include a bit of the selling in a moment on the video. I just quickly wanted to cover off a couple of things before we go any further, which people might be asking questions about. Why have I got 3 skill points available? The answer is this is a level 98 character, and I thought it was more realistic to do it with a level 95 character. As mentioned, the gear I've got, I purchased today. I purchased all the items, crafted a couple of things extra on items to save a bit of money. So here, for example, I wanted some boots with resistances and an open suffix so I can craft, avoid early ailments, but it didn't have the implicit, so I had to roll them with lessers. Same with the gloves, they were already finished and I bought them. I just used lesser embers to get anything that's half decent. And as I say, everything else has been purchased, and it was around 15 divines for the gems and the flasks and all of the gear. Obviously, I don't know how the market might change, but I haven't got a particularly good bow. It's about 900 to 950 LED PS, and everything else is really life and resistances other than the quiver that's got some decent damage on it. So I'm going to go to bed, and then the next time you see me in the video, we'll be selling all the loot and buying the Headhunter. So one thing to quickly mention is map sustain. So I started with 25 Jungle Valley maps and we've ended up with 84 Jungle Valleys and 1 Mesa. So we oversustained by 60 maps. I haven't included these in the loot, but these sell in bulk for about 30 for a divine. So you're talking about 2 divines worth of oversustain. So if needed, if I needed those last 2 divines to get my Headhunter, I could bulk sell these maps on TFT, but I'm going to keep hold of them because once I get a more juiced out character that can do T16 Affliction farming, these maps are going to be really handy. So I've now finished selling all of the loot that I need to sell. The only things I didn't sell, which I've still got, and I've probably got about 7 divines worth, are my boss maps. The main reason being I didn't have any complete sets, and they're a bit of a pain to sell on trade if you haven't got complete sets. You have to sell either maps individually or people want sets and you don't have them. So I'm just going to keep those and use them because I do boss rushing strategies fairly regularly and I have lots of those maps in my current stash, and it will just help bulk up those. You can sell them individually. The Conqueror maps go for about 75C each, the other maps slightly less, and you can sell them. I just didn't want to because I didn't need the currency, which is really why I overfarmed a little bit to make sure that I had the currency I needed to buy Headhunter without having to sell absolutely everything. We'll go over the stash in a moment just to show you what I've got left. But in terms of selling, I bulk sold my Scarabs and my Delirium Orbs on TFT. I believe I put my Delirium Orbs at 135% of POE Ninja price. Might have been slightly cheap because I got 3 people whispering me straight away. But I'm not going to then relist them 5 minutes later for maybe half a divine more. And then the Scarabs I did at 100% because I only had about 2.5 divines worth. I only had 1 whisper for them, so I'm assuming they were priced about correct, and I sold those. In terms of the simulacrums, the formed invitation, twisted invitation, everything else sold in bulk on trade, along with currencies, eldritch currencies. I did sell a lot of the individual div cards because I had a few that were worth 20 to 30 chaos. I had a couple of cluster jewels that are worth some currency. And then once I got to the point where I really didn't have much I wanted to sell without sitting in my hideout for an hour doing 10 or 20 chaos trades. So we'll go and have a quick look at what's left. And in terms of the value, Wealthy Exile puts what I've got left at about 11 divines. A lot of it is stuff I'm not going to sell. Like I said, some of the contracts, some div cards are only worth a little bit of currency. Fortunate, I'll just wait until I get a full stack and turn them in myself rather than trying to sell them. Realistically, the only thing of value left are these boss maps here. And like I said, because I didn't have full sets, I didn't sell them. I could have horizoned these into other ones to get one full set of shaper maps, but I would rather keep these and use them myself. The currency tab for the project is here. So we're looking at 91.5 divines, and then a few other bits of currency here and there that I haven't sold because I haven't got enough bulk. But we did have enough greater eldritch embers to get 2 divines worth. We had enough grand eldritch embers to get 4 divines. I sold all of my glass blowers baubles. I go for 2C each. Gem cutters prisms was selling 20 for 70C. And then Sextants 54. I think I had 2 divines worth of Sextants. So that was the one surprise to me, is that Sextants are not as valuable as I thought they would be, considering the grand embers are, or the greater embers even, are worth quite a bit more. But overall, it was very easy to sell. The formed invitations was the only thing I had problems with. It seems sometimes when you list them, they can go for like 1.9 divines on TFT. Other times you list them for like 1.6 and no one's interested. In the end, I did them for 1.5 divines each on trade, and they sold after a few minutes. But that is really what I wanted to do with this project, is not only earn enough currency within a short amount of time, but make it nice and easy to sell. And overall, in about 6 or 7 trades, I probably had enough to buy the Headhunter, but that would include the memory that sold for 9 divines. So I wanted to go and then sell some extra bits as well to make sure I wasn't relying on that memory to buy the belt. So the memory I sold for 9 divines. So that would leave me, if we took that out, at 82 divines. And if we go and have a look at an uncorrupted Headhunter at the moment, you're looking at probably 79 to 80 divines. 80 divines is probably looking at it the realistic price that you're going to get the belt for. I'm not actually going to buy one because I have a Headhunter. I have no need to buy a second one because they're likely to go down in price. This is more a project to see with very minimal investment, and a build that I think at 15 divines is fairly cheap at this stage of the league, that if you really concentrate on farming, you can make a lot of currency very quickly. So what I'll do before we close off is just explain the fundamentals, I think, when you're running any kind of strategy where you can earn this sort of profit per hour. So we were just over 5 hours and we made 90 divines. So you're looking at a very, very healthy return for something where you never have to interact with trade to buy items or go to TFT and buy compasses and scarabs. So the first thing is just being organized. So make sure that you have somewhere where you can stash your loot to keep an eye on it. If you don't care on your currency per hour, you obviously don't need this. You can just have everything go into your infinities. But I like to know that the strategy I'm doing is actually working. What I also like to do, because the income on this sort of strategy is very regular, is check it every hour to make sure that I am keeping up with the pace that I want to keep up at. The most important thing is just be quick. So what I would do is just bring up Map Watch very quickly to show the sort of times I was doing the maps in. And this includes downtime as well. So this is going to include all the time I'm playing the game. So if you go to history and have a look at the last few maps I did, for example, as you can see in Mesa, if I don't get a deli mirror, I'm kind of 30 seconds in a map, including town time. And that will include stashing loot, picking up more maps every now and again to go and carry on. With the delirium mirror, might be slightly more, might be a minute to 1.25 minutes. You realistically maybe don't need the deli mirror. Yes, you do get deli orbs, but is it quick if you had the maps applied just to boss rush? Probably. But because this was a self-sustaining strategy, it didn't really matter that I stayed a bit longer to get currency because I wanted to run Mesa maps more than Jungle Valleys. And then we go and have a look at Jungle Valley, and they were anywhere from kind of a minute up to 2.5 minutes if I got really good loot. So if I had a few altars spawn in that drop lots of loot, I would go and pick those up. Now my character is not particularly quick. It is a Deadeye, so it has Tailwind. I ran Haste and Onslaught and Co. I had nothing else really to boost my movement speed. There was no Berserk or anything like that. I did have Rage on hit, but it would obviously take me at this rate a minute to get my Rage up, and a lot of the time I'm almost finished the map by then. It's really just understanding the playstyle of your build and how to utilize it the best. And it is just being quick. So get your maps ready. So I was having my maps ready like this. I was then putting them all into my stash, say 4 rows of them, IDing them all, scouring them all, and then I'm just running map after map after map. Once my stash gets to about here, then I'll go and dump my loot in this dump tab here, and then I'll just carry on. The map device has a little bit of downtime when you put a map in. So if I needed to dump loot, I would put my map in first, then go to my stash, stash my loot. Then by the time I've stashed, the map is about ready for me to go in. Load times obviously play a part. I don't have amazingly fast load times, but I don't have slow load times. So if it takes me 5 seconds to load into a map, but it takes you 10 seconds, that is a lot of time when you're looking at running hundreds and hundreds of maps. So in this strategy, I ran 280 maps. If you're an extra 5 seconds for every map, that does actually add on quite a bit and eats into the profit that you can make per hour. But I wouldn't necessarily look at this as a per hour thing because everyone is different. I would just look at it that if you ran 280 maps with this strategy, you will come out with the currency to buy a Headhunter. Other than the memory, which I didn't actually need anyway, I can buy the Headhunter without it. Nothing out of the ordinary dropped. Everything that dropped from this strategy, I expected to drop. We had no Divine Orbs drop, no Valdos boxes, no Reliquary Keys, just everything was standard stuff that I expected to drop from this strategy. And in terms of loot, we sold the Exarch invitations for 3.2 divines each. So that's 32 divines. And I sold my Deli Orbs for about 22. So that on its own is 54 divines. That leaves me only needing to find 26 divines from all the rest of the loot to be able to pay this strategy off. Again, we had formed invitations drop, and you will get invitations and they're worth big money. So within 3 to 4 trades, including the simulacrums, I've probably got 80% of my Headhunter from doing 4 very simple trades. And that's why I really liked this strategy. That's really it for this video. It's gone on probably longer than I wanted, but I wanted to make sure that I included enough information, enough footage, and enough explanation that if people wanted to do this, they could do. So the Atlas tree is in the video description, along with the POB for the character. I wouldn't necessarily copy the character. I don't think it's very well optimized at all. It was put together in about an hour just buying stuff off of trade. You could definitely make a stronger character for 15 divines, but I more wanted to show that it is something that if you've only got that amount of currency, you can put a build together and you can go and farm yourself an absolute ton of money. Now, this is a Deadeye. It's a Tornado Shot character. You may have a different class, but I would think for every single Ascendancy, there is a decent mapping build that you can put together for this price. I don't have particularly good single target on this character. It's not mega quick. It's kind of more of an all-rounder. If I was really bothered about damage, for example, I'd maybe run Heries instead of Lightning Coil. Not worry about Ailment Immunity, just get maybe Chill, Freeze, and Shock Immune. I could have definitely gone more into damage and speed, but I just wanted to not die very often. And I only died once in the 280 maps, which was shown in the highlights. That's it for the video. I hope this kind of thing is helpful to people. Thank you very much for watching. Take care and see you in the next one.